Hey, awesome people of YouTube, welcome back to another 7 days to die video. In this one, we're going to be talking about 7 worst perks to pick. Right now, before we get started, I just want to say that if you do enjoy this type of videos, do help me out by leaving a like, comment, and especially subscribing. It truly means a lot to the channel. Also, we do stream every single day around 4 p.m. Eastern. We're currently either going to be playing in a group, continuing that, or continuing our solo insane 64 forward hard Twitch integration run. We also have Discord. All those things are down in the description. Now, excuse me, with all that said, let's get into the video. I'm going to be talking about 7 worst perks in no particular order, but they are, in my opinion, are the worst perks. Now, first one we're going to be talking about is the Pack Mule. It is in strength. Pack Mule does is allows you to carry more items in your inventory without suffering movement penalties. You can see at first you get 3 more items that being encumbered, then it's an additional 3, and then 4 additional for more items, and then, you know, even more 4 items. But it is useless, in my opinion. Yes, at the very start, it might be somewhat helpful, but in my opinion, it falls off really quickly, and there's no point, because to respec or get rid of that or change that setup is gonna require you to get Grandpa's Forget Elixir, which costs 6,000 dukes. And in order to combat the over encumbrance, you can get a beautiful pack mods. These things where you can get 4 capacity, 3 capacity, and you can put it on each piece. You can put it on your chest, your boots, and gloves, right? You get 12 more, and you can see you only need 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one will get rid of that. The second one will get rid of 4 more. Then you get 4 additional. So with that 3, you get even more. And then you can run just 2 triples. So you run 3 quads and 2 triples, and you will be fine. And so that's why I think Pack Mule is one of the worst perks. Now, second worst perk is Under Fortitude, and that is well insulated. What it does, it allows you to be more resilient to weather in harsh environments like heat or cold. And you can see it allows you to gain 10 insulation against heat and cold, and you lose 10 or you lose 15% less food and water when cold or overheating. At max, you'll never have severe stage of temperature status effects, you know? So it's not really that effective, because in my playthrough, I'm running just regular armor, you know, just whatever Twitch chat gives me through integration or whatever I find. And the only times I am cold or overheating is when I die. So the armor is really easy to, you know, not worry about that. There's also insulation mods. As you can see, there is insulated linear mod, using insulation from cold. And then there's, I believe, there's another one, I forget the name, I think it's mesh. Yeah, there we go. Mesh, which allows you heat resistance, you know? So you can combat that with those 2 mods if you really need to, but you probably don't. That's why I think that is another worst perk to pick. Yep. The third perk that is also the worst is still Under Fortitude, and that is Iron Gut. We specialize in gastrointestinal health to use less calories and gain more benefits from food. Use less oxygen while diving. I've never dived, so, you know. But at first, you reduce your food and water loss from exertion by 5%. Allows you to hold breath for 84 seconds. Your buff lasts 10% longer, and you have reduced chance of dysentery by 1%, which is useless. Now at max, your food and water reduction from physical exertion is reduced by 25%. You can hold breath for 180 seconds or 3 minutes. Your chance of dysentery is reduced by 5%, which honestly is kind of meh, because by the time you max out, you should have some food, and you can have the water purification mod for your helmet that allows you to drink murky water. And your buffs from consumable last 50% longer. The buff from consumables lasting longer is the only good thing. The rest are kind of meh, because you can get good amount of food and water relatively easy. The only times you might struggle is if you're in a big group, but there's good perks to combat that. Now, that's why I think it's the third worst perk. Again, it's no particular order. Another worst one is Animal Tracker, which allows you to just detect and track animals within 100 meters. Now, rabbits, snakes, and chickens, it's whatever, you know. Wolves and coyotes you should be able to see because coyotes are in the desert, wolves are in the snow. Now, mountain lions are also in the snow, and bears in the snow and in the wasteland. But they're usually big enough to see, right? And it's meh. You know, you don't need that, in my opinion. You know? Unless you're playing on super hard difficulty, even then, your mountain lions you can easily see, and bears, wolves, and coyotes you can easily see. They also make audio cues. So that's why I think that is one of the worst perks. The fifth worst perk is under intellect, and that is lockpicking, which allows you to lockpick faster and break fewer lockpicks. At first, it might be a little helpful. It might seem like it's helpful because it allows you to pick locks 20% faster and has 10% less chance of breaking lockpicks. At max, it's 60% faster lockpicking, 30% less chance of breaking the lockpicks, and you get 2 extra lockpicks when you find them in loot. But honestly, it's meh, because once you get to, workstation level 2, I believe it's at 15, you'll be able to make all the lockpicks you want. You know, yes, lockpicking faster is not bad, but you can make enough lockpicks, you can find a good amount of them. Right? There's also armor that you can get that will help you with your lockpicking. Right? Rogue gloves. At level 5, you get 10% more speed and more success. So it's not really worth it. Maybe at first, but to be honest, at the end, it's not worth it at all. Now, the sixth worst perk is under Fortitude, back again with rule number 1, Cardio, which allows you to train your body in the number 1 tactic against zombie menace, and it's running away from them. At first, it allows you to increase stamina regen by 10% when sprinting. At max, it increased stamina regen by 30% when sprinting. And honestly, it's not that amazing. The only times it might be somewhat helpful is if you're getting surrounded, you know, and that's in a hard POI. But by that time, if you're doing the tier 5 POIs that are very hard, like in a Sona Desert or in the Wasteland, like the Army 7 Outpost or the 7 Days Hotel or whatever that one's called, you should have a good amount of equipment. And that honestly is just a waste of points. Because you can get your stamina regen through certain buffs like coffee and few other buffs to increase your stamina and regen over that. And so that's why I think it's pretty worthless. Now, another worthless one that in my opinion is the 7th one, and that is the Infiltrator under Perception. Because what it does is it allows you to heighten your senses to take less damage from traps. At first one, loose board traps and landmines trigger half a second slower, and you take 20% less damage from landmines. Now at max, loose board traps and landmines trigger 2 seconds slower, you take 50% less damage from landmines, and you can pick them up. Now it might be worth it if you're playing in a PvP server, but if you're playing in PvE or you're on console where you can have 2 to 4 people, depending on your if you're on Series S, you can only have 2 people. If you're on Series X, you can have 4 people. So in my opinion, that is worthless. Like, yes, taking damage from landmines is not bad because there's certain POIs that have them. But there's a beautiful book. I believe it's over here. Yep. Number 5. Urban Common number 5. Where landmines won't detonate when you step on them. So there's no need to take less damage. The only time it would be good is if you're trying to have zombies run through them. But picking up the landmines, that's kind of meh. So, like, you can easily combat the trigger just by getting Urban Combat number 5. Pretty cool. But those are the 7 perks that I think are worst perks in the entire game. Pack Mule, Well Insulated, Iron Gut, Animal Tracker, Lockpicking, Rule number 1 Cardio, and the Infiltrator. Again, they're not in a particular order, and they're just pretty bad. You can, you know, substitute them with mods or books. But that's my opinion. Do let me know what the worst perks you think are in the comments down below. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to stay awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.